they're generally just nice. I mean, there's nobody who's ever died of a manatee attack, and they're giant, lumbering, funny-looking animals. My name is Grant Eady, and I make electronic music as Manatee Commune. We're here in Bellingham, Washington. So I make chillwave electronic music, sampling viola, guitar, and as many soft synthesizers as I can use. Use a lot of atmospheric sounds and some hip-hop beats. There's a ridiculous amount of very intelligent youth here that are fiending for mental stimulus for the most part. Just people being bored enough that they just play shows for each other. It seems like everybody's always kind of trying to shine for the most part, do something fresh that makes them who they are. Everybody's dabbling in these weird different paths to see what it's like. Tons of friends go into the punk scene for a minute just to check it out, and then they come back and they're like, I'm not sure why I did that, but it was worth it. I think Bellingham is an incubator in that sense, because art can just thrive. I just watched this GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it of a manatee making contact with the glass of its enclosure. It was its nose getting all scrunched up, and I thought it was super cute. I liked manatees. I wanted to do something that paid homage to Animal Collective, and I was really high in my dorm room. Yeah, so my live set right now is guitar, viola, drums. I can loop my viola. I don't usually loop my guitar, but I have the potential. And then I run just Ableton Live, and I launch scenes. When I initially started making music for live setting, it was I'm gonna put people in this cerebral space, and they're gonna start thinking about their lives, and they're gonna set down their drinks, and they're gonna sit on the floor and think about what they're doing. And that was so naive. It was so naive, because I've been there. I've been that guy, standing in the audience watching a really cerebral show and thought, I don't want to be here. And that's when I realized, I was man, I'm not having fun trying to put people into a space that they don't want to be in. They know what they want. I know what they want. I'm going to do it my own way and see what they think. And usually that ends up going really well. All right, so we're going to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. This is first time at South by Southwest, first time in Texas, and my second show ever out of state. So I'm just bringing viola, launchpad, APC, not even a table, because I can't even bring that on the plane. So I'm just bringing these three things. We're at South by Southwest at the Midway Field House. Playing a show here in about half an hour. Should be fun. I've never flew my shit down here before, so naturally thinking my case would just fly open. I locked it, which was a huge mistake, because TSA was there's a fucking bomb in this shit. And so they broke it open in front of me. I saw it happen. They took a couple hammers. The guy was fuck, just fucking broke the thing open. So half my shit's bent up and messed up and stuff, but what are you gonna do, you know? I wish the process of writing music for me personally was more formulaic, but unfortunately it's very random and very happenstance, very well, this just happened to work today, and I happened to drink the right amount of coffee, and I happen to have a good experience the day before or something like that. I have all these ideas, I put them into different places, and then I fill them all out with different samples and different ideas and stuff like that. So it's there's kind of a skeletal structure, and then I put stuff in it. As I get more in the electronic scene, I become so much more excited about genres and people putting me in a box, because if they do, then they understand what's happening and you know, come to shows and have a good time. Basically, when you do a performance with a live instrument, you've practiced. And when you go up and you play music, like on a guitar or viola or violin or cello or something, you're essentially just pressing play in your head, and your hands are just doing it for you. And people think like, wow, that's really impressive. Like, look at all the practice he put in. And that is true. But like, when somebody presses play on their tracks, people see it as like, oh, he's just pressing play. But nobody says like, wow, think about the amount of hours it took him to work on that song, you know? And I always think that's really wild, because I mean, you don't have to think that way. It's totally fabricated. Just because you can do the same thing with iTunes doesn't mean he's doing the same thing up on stage. I mean, it took me the same amount of hours to figure out how to use all these buttons and stuff, all these weird things. It took me the same amount of hours to learn how to use that stuff than it did to learn how to play viola. The reason why I play live instruments when I play live is because it's way more gratifying. It is way more gratifying for me personally. And that's just a personal preference. That's not like me being elitist and saying like, I need to have instruments in my set because I'm a real musician. It's just because that's the way I learned how to play music, was playing viola, playing guitar, playing piano, playing drums, playing whatever on stage. I could totally see where somebody would be like, you know, I've spent hours learning how to use this specific APC patch, and somebody comes up to him after the show and they're like, well, you're just, you know, you weren't really playing anything. And he thinks like, well, I spent so many hours like working on that APC patch. Like, what have I been doing then? And so, I don't know. That's a dumb argument. We're here at the Wild Buffalo in Bellingham, Washington, my hometown. I'm opening up for Blockhead. So we have laptop running Ableton Live, and then I have my audio interface, which is running Firewire, which I like to use more because it's a higher, faster sample rate. APC, which is launching clips, has effects. My Launchpad, which is also launching clips. I have it programmed through a lot of other things on this side. Drums, viola, guitar, amplifier. Pretty simple. Yeah, totally. It was a super fun show. Always good to see people that I know. This one was like a full production and a lot more tracks and like some different tracks and stuff. The crowd in Bellingham is always really supportive of what I'm doing. I've been to quite a few places and I haven't found a spot that is nearly as special. The people here and the nature here and the culture here are just things that I love and like things that I want to continue. Yeah. Like that's it. That's how you do it.